Okay, it's the Soda Script Junkie here. We're going to be looking at a new class, the Mystic. We're picking up off where we left off on last video, and we're looking at a new class today. More specifically, we're looking at the setup of the Mystic class, how it works in particular. Now, rather than just getting rid of... Wrong one. Sorry, that was default. Anyway, rather than just getting rid of the gear and all, I'm just going to leave it as it is. Now, we're going to look at the class and exactly how it works. First thing it does is it checks the rank. If it isn't normal, it default attacks. Second thing it does, if it is a team alive, if it isn't one, it torments. Which means it'll always torment if it's more than one. Which is convenient because it's automatically set to default attack. Bosses are better. Anything better than a mini boss. Which is easy to just set this up this way rather than... This is the easiest setup I can think of. Then here you have self MP 30% recharge. Now, you can technically get rid of this one if you want to or change it in the values because it sometimes can cause troubles with recharging itself over and over again. I find it's okay, but you're better off putting it at a higher setting. Or maybe deleting it altogether. It just depends. I'm gonna drop it honestly because it's down to 10%. Yeah, that works. That way it won't continuously recharge itself over and over again whenever it gets too low. That's fair enough. It shouldn't be a problem too much. Actually, that's better. Alright. Now what it's gonna do is whenever there's an ally that has less than 80%, it'll recharge, which basically gets rid of what I had before. It circumvents what I had before and makes whatever I had before redundant. You see what I'm saying? By having the other one there, it makes this one makes the other one redundant. And by the way, something I'd like to mention before. I said before in a previous video that you could put default or attack isn't or wherever you want. That's not totally true. I made a mistake. Isn't or absolutely 100% has to be last. Cannot state that enough unless you're making a minor. Minors are the only exception. I'll get into that in a later video, but not this one. Now we're going to look at an actual script of how this works in battle. We're going to go ahead and go to 1,000, like I guess 1,000, I don't know. The armory for 1,000, that works. Yeah, that works. The armory in 1,000. The basic startup of the armory, which is 1,061. Yeah, that works. This will give us a good demonstration. Now let's pay attention to both the nurse and the mystic because you're going to get a chance to see how they both work together, which is important. So, you can kind of ignore the others for the moment. I'm going to get into those in a minute. There, it triggers torment on more than one enemy because there's more than one at play, which is important to remember. It always torments when there's more than one enemy, but it'll automatically revert back to a default attack when there's only one enemy left. So the second they take out this last enemy, the mystic should... Okay, never mind. I was going to say should default attack on the last enemy, regardless if it's a mini-boss or not. But that's the way it works. Or the way it's hard programmed to do. What? Okay, never mind. I got a critical. Anyway, now you should see it default attack on this one. Because, of course, never mind. The flipping soda junkies. I made them way too powerful. Anyway. I really need to cover that in a separate video. Anyway. We need to wait till someone's magic regen or health or regen is low enough to actually show how this works. Hopefully someone... That's good. The nurse got hit with burn. That's perfect. That's absolutely perfect. So, you're going to notice something. The nurse is going to start spamming the crap out of group heal because she's instantly taking damage all the time. Or she should, at least, if she doesn't keep healing from the health regen I have on the relics. You saw how it default attacked on a mini boss or greater? That's what I meant by it default attacks if it isn't normal. That's the basic programming how this works. And it will always default attack if there's one enemy left as well. That's the basics. But the way they work the nurse and the mystic together is the mystic keeps the nurse able to heal continuously by providing. See, it did group heal a minute ago, and whenever its health or MP gets low enough, it should do what is it? Recharge, and that means it'll instantly give it MP again, which means its MP will go back up. Now, I could set this up to a higher. There we go. Now it's recharging its MP from here, which means it'll never run out of MP or health, which is good to run both of them together. If you want to last in the dungeon for a really, really long time, at least. Lots of gear grinding, at least. That's the easiest way of doing it, I find. It's a good way to work together. It'll always recharge if they're less than 80%, including its own self. But you really won't have to worry about that too much because the Mystic always has passive regen of MP to begin with. So it's not that big of an issue. That's why I got rid of self regen, because it kind of circumvents everything. But it keeps the whole team topped off pretty much, which is useful in so many ways. This is basically how it works, the basic explanation. Now that you've seen a basic demonstration, let's go over what we just saw. Let's review real quick of what we just saw. We have enemy rank is not normal, default attack. Next, it checks how much of the enemy team is alive. It checks if it isn't one, it'll do torment automatically. Then it checks how much MP it has, or the whole team has, the ally in particular. I could do team, but that's not the point. It checks ally, all allies on the team, because it's not specific. If there's less than 80%, it does recharge. And then finally, of course, is an OR. Pretty simple. This is the simplest setup I can possibly come up with, and it works pretty well together in conjunction with a nurse. This has been the SodaScript Junkie. If you like what you've seen, subscribe. Now, I'm also looking to expand into new territory. If you like what you're seeing and you want to see me into new stuff, like something like Bit Heroes, just leave a comment down in the comment section, and I'll get to that. Have a nice day. This has been the SodaScript Junkie.